आंसर के सेशन में फिर आप उसको अनम्यूट कर लीजिएगा। तो थैंक यू सो मच, जज़ाकल्लाह खैर जिलानी साहब। छोटी सी प्रेजेंटेशन जो है वो आपके पुरजोर इसरार के ऊपर जो है मैं दे रहा हूँ, मैं इस काबिल नहीं हूँ, बट ये है कि आपने हौसला अफजाई की तो फिर मैं इसकी दोबारा कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। तो ये पहले भी आप प्रेजेंटेशन देख चुके हैं, लेकिन अब उस वक्त एक छोटी ऑडियंस थी और अब ये एक ऑनलाइन ऑडियंस है और माशाल्लाह काफ़ी लोगों ने ज्वाइन भी कर लिया है। तो मैंने इसको थोड़ी सी मज़ीद एनहांस करके तो मैंने कहा इसी को ही लेके चलते हैं, क्योंकि बेसिकली जो टेलीकॉम इंजीनियर्स जो हैं उनका जो बैकग्राउंड है मेरे प्रेजेंटेशन का बार बार एमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज पे बात करने का, वो यही है कि so English maybe I think I should continue in English. The reason I want to stress on emerging technologies in telecom is that we Pakistani engineers have come from all over the world, got experience from all over the world, and come from PEiA, mostly on PR in Australia. So, but the pain point is that the technology in last 10 years or 15 years has immensely changed. So telecom has also affected in many ways. So, but we as an engineer, as a telecommunication engineer, have been stuck in doing what we have been doing. So real mil rahe hain, dollar mil rahe hain. We were happy on that. So we were just doing 9 to 5 job, performing in our job, but not necessarily getting the opportunities or getting out of our comfort zone and learning new technologies. So that's why when we come to a modern country, advanced country like America or Australia, so then we tend to struggle to get our first job. Even if we get our first job, it will be really, really hard because of the technology has evolved so much that we cannot find our second or third job. So that's why I wanted to start with this topic, that let's discuss and get your feedback, that what do you think about it. So as I mentioned earlier, that I will not go into the nitty gritty of every technology. I will just touch the surface and just to open a thinking box for all of you, including myself, that what particular technology I have been working and what I think my technology, that my particular skills can further evolve in any of the particular technology. It's totally up to us. Nobody else can tell us which technology we can say. No recruiter can tell me that, okay, this is your technology or this is your next path to you, that technology, and you should choose that. It's only me that I have to decide. So about quick introduction, those who don't know me, electrical engineering graduate from UT Lahore, 94 session. Yes, I am a Baba, alhamdulillah. Graduated after 5.5 years because of everybody knows that what happened with the political atmosphere in UT. Finally, one army general came as a VC and he cleaned up the mess, and eventually all the sessions after 96 session we graduated in 4 years time as committed. But my session was badly affected because of that. I went to America, did my master's of science in electrical engineering from University of Tennessee, Knoxville, published a research paper in an IEEE conference. Luckily, it was in OFDM. At that time when I was doing my research on, I never knew that it will actually become the core technology for wireless communication at that time. And I thought that maybe it will evolve for Wi-Fi only. But then when it was introduced for 4G, then that was a major happy moment for me as well. That I actually worked on research on, I published a research paper on OFDM at that time. Moving forward, 17 plus years in telecommunication operators in Pakistan, Middle East, and Australia. I'm PMP certified, AWS and Cisco certified as well. I love to travel, reading books, and learning new technologies. The big picture. What do you think this big picture is? The big picture is application. Evolution of application. So internet kahan gaya? What we say is telecommunication. What happened to telecommunication if everything is application? So it is safely to say that now we can safely say that telecommunication, or we can say that telecommunication is basically communicate remotely, right, to anybody, whether it's video or voice or streaming, you name it. So now what is the evolution of application, and what does it have to do with telecommunication or with internet? So what happened is that internet has evolved so much that is actually it has overclouded, or you can say overcome the telecommunication. So everything we talk about is over through internet. So, but what is internet? Internet is actually provided over broadband service mainly, as well as the mobile broadband, whether it is fixed wireless or whether it is fixed line, fiber optic, you name it. So, but all we have to do is we need an internet connection. It doesn't matter to the user what's the medium he's using to get the internet, whether it's wireless. He don't care. All he needs is he has a 4G signal or a Wi-Fi signal. That's it. That's all he wants. So evolution of and then, but what is happening actually? So everything is app based now, right? So what kind of apps we can talk about? The rise of the applications. Okay, what applications? Streaming apps, Netflix, HBO, you name it, Disney. E-commerce shopping apps. So especially post COVID, everything is shopping online, right? uh, Alibaba, AliExpress, Amazon, you name it, eBay. Software as a service. So Microsoft, uh, Google Cloud, everything is available as software as a service. Office 365, everybody is using Office 365. It's it says in the cloud. You cannot, even the Office 365 application is on your PC, but we cannot use it unless we are subscribed to it. We have a subscription to that software. So that becomes a software as a service. Audio video apps, we are like right now we are using Zoom, which is a very great application of what we are doing right now, talking to each other, right? Doing a video, live streaming, and audio and video. So this is amazing. It's just a simple app, web-based, and it can be web-based. It is an app, downloadable app, installable. Social media apps, everybody is using Facebook, Instagram, etc. Food delivery, Uber Eats, again, a major booster from post-COVID, but that's the reality. It just boosted it, but the food apps were there to stay, and they will be growing in the future as well. Ride sharing, Uber, everybody is using again Uber, and food apps, as we already talked. House sharing apps, Airbnb, Booking.com. Everybody can put their accommodation for rent for others to rent, and get the rental money out of it. Banking and investment apps. Today, everybody use the banking and banking apps or investment apps. So you pick a section, you pick a domain, and now there is an app for it, right? So and those are not small apps. Those are not small industry. Each and every app that we have mentioned, and each and every domain is $1 billion industry here, right? So how much we know about these domains, that and which domain actually interests us. We don't have to be. It's not that these domains are only for the computer scientists. No, everybody can if we can be a user of it, why cannot we actually go and learn and upskill ourselves to actually do something similar in those domains, or maybe a new domain, we don't know. But have we tried it? So this is the first question that I'm throwing. So what's the bottom line? Internet broadband service has become a utility service, just like electricity, gas, and water, right? So it's just that now another utility is internet. So before we have three utilities. Okay, I have a house, I need electricity, gas, and water, but I also need an internet. So it's a utility service. It's just the pipe that we have to have these days. This is it's essential now. So now the question becomes is that after getting the bigger picture that everything is apps, so and what is happening to telecom? How can we actually benefit from these emerging technologies? So first of all, to get the benefit out of these emerging technologies, we need to actually know about these technologies, that and then we can decide that, okay, which domain I want to choose. Or actually, I'm already migrating towards the technology without knowing it. So it's very, very important. So first technology, I will only put 5G. So definitely everybody, most of us has been working on 3G, 4G technology, whether it's core side or the radio side. But we are all familiar from 3G or 4G. But I put only 5G because it is still emerging. It is already launched, but it is ever developing. So whoever has worked in 3G, 4G, mobile radio networks, core networks, they should be transforming their career towards 5G. They should already be learning, whether they are in for these 3G, 4G now, and they think, oh, I don't know anything about 5G, I cannot apply for a 5G job. But that nobody knows actually what 5G is. So right, nobody is expert, right? So who will work on 5G? Only the one who has actually worked on 3G and 4G, right? So there is nothing to be let down of yourself that, okay, 5G is something out of this world. It's rocket. No, it's not rocket science. Artificial intelligence. We'll talk about briefly about it. What is artificial intelligence? Internet of Things, big data, robotic process automation, cloud computing, and lastly, cybersecurity. So I will briefly go through these technologies, and some of them you will definitely agree with me. Some of them are supporting, and some of them are mainstream. So it is up to you. I will not. I will give you my opinion. Which one are supporting technologies and which ones are mainstream. But it is up to you to decide. It's not like that. If one is a supporting technology, we should not be doing it. If we are good in, for example, in coding and developing systems. Okay, 10 minutes time. Uh, so what does it mean? That doesn't mean we should not go into artificial intelligence. For example, if artificial intelligence is not the mainstream telecom technology, but it is a supporting technology, we should at least know about artificial intelligence and then decide whether we want to proceed in learning or upskilling ourselves in that domain or not. And same thing goes for IoT or big data or RPA or cloud computing or cybersecurity. So 5G, again, as I mentioned, that 5G, I'll talk briefly about it. What are the main advantages of it? Able to support a 100-fold increase in connected devices per unit area or per cell coverage, you can say. So that's the main advantage. That's how they build 5G. That the main disadvantage of 3G 4G is that there is a certain limitation of subscribers or users in a particular cell at one time, and to overcome that challenge, they have evolved 5G so that it can take many more subscribers per coverage area. So offers ultra low latency. So again. Right now, if we talk to anybody about 5G, so they all say that 5G, there are not many use cases, but it is good for gaming, right? Why gaming at this time? Because only gaming is the one that has evolved so quickly that it offers ultra low latency application. But in the future, there are already many applications in the pipeline that if we research about it, they're already in the making. And if we can be part of those ultra low latency applications for it, the security, video surveillance security is one of them, by the way. So you fly up a drone and you want to have a live feed of an area, for example, to find a culprit. So you want to do a live face recognition through a very heavy software cloud base. So you fly up a drone and then it will cover, let's say, a 360 view, and then it will mark all of the people. Let's say there are 10 people in a market or 100 people in a market, and if the network internet connection is really, really fast, like 5G. So there is a possibility that the recognition software can actually process all those 100 people faces in, let's say, 5 seconds or maybe 5 minutes, and it can recognize somebody that we want to recognize. So this is just one application. Improved data rates, of course, enables network slicing. So network slicing is an old concept, but it is brought back in 5G. That what we can do, we can actually lend our network. So, for example, we build a network and then we can give it to multiple operators, for example. So they can, for example, one network or what we can say one frequency spectrum can be used by multiple operators. So that's the main concept of network slicing. So you give this, you slice it like a pizza, and then each different operators can use consume the slice of that pizza. So open doors to new services, network operation, and customer experience for telecom operators, of course. Like we know that Telstra is heavily investing in it in 5G. But as I already mentioned, that this is against 5G will only benefit because of the applications that will be developing utilizing 5G. Otherwise, 5G. Can you please go on mute, please? Thank you.
भरोसा था मेरे को बाबा पे, लाता नेक्स्ट टाइम बिना कोई तैयारी के नहीं बैठ अपन पढ़ के बेकार है.
Mohammad Salim साहब, can we go on mute?
तो जबरदस्त कॉलेज.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Alrighty, enough of 5G. I only mentioned one use case, that is software-defined network versus network functional virtuality. And there is a link in it. I will share this presentation so you guys can actually go. And I would definitely recommend each and everyone who is interested in 5G. So click on this link and then go and have a read. That this is what is happening with the software defined network and or network function virtuality, with how these networks are evolving and how the SD-WANs are coming up. So whoever is in the network and he has worked on LAN WANs, so if he doesn't know about SD-WANs, then it will be very challenging for him or her to actually get a job in networking in the next 2 to 3 years, because everything will be is evolving towards SDN or NFV. If we are talking NFV, is more towards talking about the 5G core networks. Machine learning or artificial intelligence, mainly it's artificial intelligence, where we use it, some of the applications, but it is very evolving. So some of the applications these currently we are using is virtual assistants or chatbots in customer support. Everybody knows it if you go to a Telstra website or any other operator website, and even on the apps. So I'm a Telstra user. If I want to if I want to have a query resolved, I'll just open the app, and in the chat with the chatbot, I will just put my problem, and the chatbot, if it's a standard problem, it will throw the solution to me in terms of a link to a web page, or it will open a case for me and direct it to an actual human being who can then look into my problem and then give me a solution to that one. Optimization and predictive maintenance of telecommunication networks. Yes, this is already happening heavily in Australia. So artificial intelligence is there in terms of optimization and predictive maintenance of the networks. Detecting fraudulent activity. I have actually seen the many use cases in NBN myself, that how artificial and machine learning is beneficial for detecting any fraudulent activity. I will not go into the details but at some time, maybe in the next session, we can talk about it. Gather actionable business insights, of course. Next is Internet of Things. it is a disruptive technology. At this time, there are more than 1 billion Internet of Things IoTs deployed around the globe, and it is a careful estimate that by 2025 there will be 5 billion devices. Okay, 5G, fixed wireless, fixed broadband networks connects IoTs to internet. So again, 5G, whether it's 5G, fixed wireless, fixed broadband, wireless, it's just a pipe to connect the IoTs to the internet, or in other words, IoTs to IoTs, or IoTs to other devices, machine to machine or machine to business. So IoTs help telecom. What are the uses of IoTs? At this time, telecom uh, base stations can be monitored, data centers can be monitored for their temperatures, for their surveillance, you name it, for their alarms. Applications of IoT, overall, I'm just mentioned the industry, but there are many more industries coming up. Agriculture, fish farming, weather, tourism, premises security, very heavily. Everybody these days have got a webcam in his security camera in his at his house, multiple, and he can just open an app, and he is like away 1,000 miles from his home, and he can actually see what's going on around his house. Mining industry is heavily utilizing IoTs. Construction industry. Uh, I know a friend in Boral, and Boral has around more than 7,000 trucks and vehicles, and they are using IoT to actually monitor the driver fatigue, how the driver is driving, how the driver is delivering, is he late, how many stops he's having from once the truck leaves the concrete station towards till it delivers the concrete. How many stops does he have, how the what the way he took, everything is recorded just by an IoT device. So it is definitely a technology disruptor and very interesting. Big data analysis and machine learning. By the way, I'll give you my verdicts on it. So to myself, 5G is the
जी स्क्रीन आ रही है मेरे
ठीक है जी। तो मैं वर्डिक्स मैं पे बात कर रहा था कि मेरे हिसाब से जो मेन स्ट्रीम है वो टेलीकॉम की मेन स्ट्रीम ऑफ कोर्स 5G है, इवॉल्विंग फ्रॉम 3G 4G। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस मेरे हिसाब से सपोर्टिंग है टेलीकॉम की, जितने भी मेन स्ट्रीम जितने भी आप कह लें नेटवर्क्स है या उसके बैकएंड पे जितने भी एप्लीकेशंस हैं उनको सपोर्ट करती है। IoT जो है वो भी सपोर्टिंग ही है, क्योंकि इस IoT is actually an using faster internet, you can say, और wider internet, wider availability of internet. So internet है तो internet of things है, अगर internet नहीं है या पीछे telecommunication network नहीं है, ठीक है, तो IoT नहीं है, they cannot work. So again, it is supporting, you can say, or dependent. Big data analysis, again, it is supporting in my opinion. So big data, what is big data analysis? It's just performing analysis to, for example, there are many, everything these days is doing or needing data analysis. Improving customer experiences, for example, very, very important. Introducing new services, assuring what network data capacity and network quality, assuring, of course, network data, big data analysis is very, very important these days. Network security, again, very, very important. So these are some of the applications. But this is just a scratching of the surface. Big data analysis is a very, very hot topic these days, but is not directly mainstream, but definitely if anybody who has a niche in it, they can definitely look in to get into the big data analysis. Robotic process automation, again, supporting, in my opinion. You guys can differ. Anything can be automated, any recurring process. It started mainly from Japan, that when Japanese car making industry skyrocketed, and they have a big demand of Japanese car around the world. So what they did is they built the robots to actually make faster and better and good quality cars. So it's mainly the robotic process is in my opinion is initiated from Japan and from in the mainstream industry, production and industry in the sense. But now everything is software. So how we are doing automation for software, for example. So RP offers a high level of scalability and agility, take over many redundant tasks such as report generation. We can just automate our daily reporting using Tableau and other software, responding to customer questions like we already discussed, using chatbots and robots and robotic process automation. It actually goes hands in hand with artificial intelligence to make those apps. Order processing, price tracking, you name it. Cloud computing. So cloud computing, in my sense, it is a mainstream. Why? Because the core network is of telecommunication is actually going cloud. I'll throw in a link. I will not talk about in detail, but anybody who is working on the core side of it, I have worked myself in core network for a long time, but then I kind of sidetracked to other domains and. But still now, if anybody who's working in 5G or even in 4G advanced, they should be knowing that how Ericsson is applying cloud technology and for the core of the any mobile network. So cloud computing is another major technology disruptor which only requires internet connection. Major services cloud provider include IaaS, infrastructure as a service. So what this concept is that we have an infrastructure available to us to use if we have an internet connection. How? For example, I need a server. I need for example, I need an internet machine, for example, to do a very heavy computing tasks, right? So I want to let's say I want to build a web server, right? So I have multiple options. So one option is that I actually go to Amazon AWS and I need a computer and an internet connection. So I go to the Amazon website, I open an account, I get a server that I require, whether it is Linux server or whether it is a Windows server, and then I will install my web server on it, and then I'll put my application on it, give him get a domain name and a DNS, route my DNS to that web server, and in 5 minutes my website is up and running. So it is that easy now. Right. So this is in infrastructure. So what I've done is I've actually purchased or leased an actual server, web server, that just was sitting at home from Amazon, and I put my website on it, and it is up and running in less than 5 minutes. Platform as a service. So another type of cloud computing is the platform as a service. So what is platform as a service? Platform is that I'll get a, for example, I don't care. I don't need a baseline server. I don't care about it, whether it is Linux or Unix. I tell Amazon that, okay, just give me a web server. Okay, I don't care whether it is running on a Linux machine or whether it's running on a Windows machine. I just need a particular web server, right? So Amazon said, okay, get our this web server platform. So, for example, any good web server, you can say, you name it. Nginx is one of them. So they will I'll get directly an Nginx. I don't care which machine it is running, and I'll get an access again in less than 5 minutes. I'll get an access to Nginx server. I'll put my website files on it, HTML files on it, and within 5 minutes it will be up and running. Software as a service. I already discussed software as a service. I will give an example of Office 365. It's a great example. Everybody is using Office 365, Microsoft, and we first subscribe to the service of Office 365, and what it does is it actually give us the license to use it. For example, it could be a permanent license, a lifetime license, or it could be an annual subscription license. So, and everything is software as a service these days. So you just have to subscribe to it, pay some fees, and that's it. Now, coming back to telecommunication, how telecommunication and how cloud computing is becoming mainstream in telecommunication. So I'll put this link to Ericsson 5G. This is very, very interesting. So it will actually tell that how the cloud computing is actually evolving towards and helping mobile technology to go everything, put everything in the cloud. So this could not be thinkable 15 years ago. So every telecommunication operator has its own data center, very, very secure and very, very heavily server oriented data center with lots of servers in it and machines in it and what we call boxes in it, uh, where everything dedicated software were installed and to help all the call flows for the voice or data. So, but this is not the case anymore. So everything is now an operator can actually, just like infrastructure as a service, so it can actually lease infrastructure from Amazon, and then he can actually get his, just uh, connect his data center with AWS through a dedicated internet connection, and his access network will directly go into the cloud. That's it. He don't need a data center for his core networks. So this is how cloud computing is disrupting the telecommunication. So anybody who is actually working in, especially in the core network side of mobile communication, and he should be heavily browsing through this material, starting from this website that I've just mentioned. Lastly, cybersecurity. This is one of my favorite, and this is how I am trying to evolve my career in it. So, cybersecurity is definitely very, very in demand these days. Is it supporting or is it mainstream for telecommunication? I cannot say simply. In my opinion, it can be both, but it's definitely non-mainstream. But it is so much important these days that one can actually think of making a career out of it. Because why? Because it's not only used by telecommunication, it is actually used by every small, medium, and large enterprise. So wherever there is an application, because the application is so wide, right? So from starting from our own mobile that we are holding in our hands, to anything like from smart TV. Everybody knows that there was a big uh, problem coming out of Samsung televisions that have the webcams out of it. That the webcams of the Samsung TV, smart TVs, they were hackable, and whoever had the control of it, he can actually see who is sitting in front of the Samsung TV. So at that time, Samsung TV was what? The camera of the Samsung TV was just an Internet of Thing, but it was hackable. So and there, you name it, the cybersecurity is so important, especially in the financial industry. Like we hear about, and another big scam we heard about was the ransomware. So many hackers, they were able to actually get the advantage of a vulnerability in the Windows 7 operating system, and then they took control of those PCs. They locked the data, and they just tell those users that, okay, to get your data unlocked, you have to pay these bitcoins to us. So that's how important cybersecurity is these days. So that's why I put it there, and definitely it is going to be one of the mainstream technologies of the future. So they just mentioned how many types of cyber attacks there are. So there are direct cyber attacks, such as DDoS, or indirect attacks such as malware. I just mentioned ransomware, etc. So telecom need to protect themselves and prepare for the future of 5G and the security hazard that will represent. So as already discussed, that whenever there is any online activity, it needs to be protected, and there is always a chance that a hacker can gain access to it. So telecom communication operators are no exception. So they always have to need to secure their assets as well. So cybersecurity is a great extension to telecommunication in that sense. So wherever we are talking about direct securing of the telecommunication networks, so cybersecurity becomes the mainstream for it. And then supporting cybersecurity is definitely also essential for all other IT networks as well. That's it.